What do Prohibition, satanic cults, and drag queens have in common? No, this isn't the start of a bad joke at a very awkward dinner party. They've all been at the center of moral panics in America. Moments where fear completely outran any semblance of facts. The consequences? Oh, they were as real as a politician's promise during an election year. So buckle up as we revisit 10 times America collectively lost its mind, ranked in the order they happened. The Roaring Twenties, flapper dresses, jazz, and a whole lot of bathtub gin. This was a time when America thought banning alcohol would solve its problems. Spoiler. It didn't. What began as a movement to curb alcohol consumption spiraled into one of America's most disastrous social experiments. Driven by religious groups and temperance advocates, the 18th Amendment banned alcohol, promising a moral revival. Instead, it fueled organized crime and corruption across law enforcement. Booze went underground and gangsters became rich. Speakeasies flourished, and the more the government cracked down, the more rebellious drinking became. Prohibition backfired spectacularly. It didn't stop drinking, it just made people better at breaking the law. The real winners? Gangsters and bootleggers. Turns out, legislating morality is about as effective as herding cats. Cold War paranoia gripped America. Capitalism versus communism. Spearheaded by Senator Joseph McCarthy, the U.S. government launched a witch hunt against suspected communists in Hollywood, universities, and even the military. Accusations were often baseless, careers were ruined, and civil liberties trampled. The paranoia was so intense that even associating with left-leaning literature could land someone on a blacklist. Neighbors eyed each other with suspicion, and freedom of speech took a back seat. The Red Scare was less about real threats and more about silencing dissent. It was a dark chapter, showing how fear can be weaponized. Sometimes the biggest monsters wave flags and shout about patriotism. In the 1950s, comic books became public enemy number one. Psychiatrist Frederick Wortham claimed comics caused everything from violence to moral decay. Parents panicked, comics were burned, and the industry self-censored with the Comics Code Authority. The result? Decades of watered-down stories, superheroes were sanitized, horror comics vanished, and creators were stifled. It was a classic case of scapegoating media to avoid confronting real societal issues, proof that fear can turn harmless fun into a national crisis. The War on Drugs, America's crusade against substances, not poverty or inequality. Launched under Nixon and expanded by Reagan, the war on drugs framed addiction as a criminal issue rather than a health crisis. Instead of addressing root causes, the focus shifted to punishment. Black and brown communities bore the brunt, fueling mass incarceration. Crack cocaine users were vilified, while later opioid users, often white, were treated with compassion. The moral panic served to justify surveillance, militarized policing, and the erosion of civil rights. The war on drugs became about control, not public health. It criminalized entire communities and perpetuated cycles of poverty. A public health issue turned into a criminal justice disaster. The 1980s brought the Satanic Panic. Daycare centers were accused of ritual satanic abuse, heavy metal was blamed for corrupting youth, and Dungeons and Dragons was feared as a gateway to demonic possession. The Satanic Panic swept across suburban America like wildfire. Driven by sensationalist media and pseudoscientific experts, and fueled by paranoia and religious fervor, accusations of satanic rituals spread wildly. It led to wrongful convictions and ruined lives. The only winners? Therapists and conspiracy theorists, a classic case of fear and misinformation running wild. The term superpredator was coined in the 90s to describe an imagined wave of remorseless Black and Latino youth who were supposedly about to unleash a crime wave. Media and politicians ran with it. This moral panic led to harsh sentencing laws, the rise of school-to-prison pipelines, and the incarceration of minors in adult prisons. The theory was later debunked, and even its original proponents walked it back, but the damage was done. It devastated a generation. A dangerous stereotype turned into policy and tragedy. Video games became the scapegoat for violence in the 90s and 2000s. Politicians blamed games for everything from aggression to school shootings. Never mind the lack of evidence, games were an easy target. Titles like Mortal Kombat and Doom were accused of warping young minds. Millions played without issue, but Panic won the headlines. Congressional hearings were held, and parental anxiety skyrocketed. But despite decades of research, no definitive link between gaming and real-life violence has been found. Correlation isn't causation, but try telling that to a politician. Remember Y2K? As the year 2000 approached, widespread fear spread that computer systems would crash, planes would fall from the sky, and civilization would collapse due to a date formatting bug. The world braced for a digital apocalypse over a 2-digit date. People stockpiled food, withdrew cash, and waited for chaos. Governments and businesses spent billions preparing for the worst. The media hyped disaster, but when midnight struck, nothing happened. The Y2K bug fizzled and life went on. But the frenzy revealed how easily technological fear could take over national consciousness. Sometimes the biggest scares are just blips on the screen. Critical race theory became the latest boogeyman in the early 2020s. School board meetings turned into battlegrounds over a concept most misunderstood. Critical race theory, a legal academic framework mostly taught at the university level, became a catch-all boogeyman for discussions about racism in schools. Politicians and media figures claimed children were being indoctrinated with anti-American ideas. Laws were passed banning divisive concepts. The panic silenced real conversations about race and history. Fear and misinformation once again took center stage. The latest panic? Drag queens and transgender rights. Conservative groups have fueled fears around drag queen story hours and LGBTQ+ topics in schools. These are framed as threats to children, reviving old tropes used during past anti-gay campaigns. The panic has led to book bans, anti-trans laws, and even threats against performers and teachers. As with past panics, it's less about protecting kids and more about using fear to control cultural narratives. The fight for equality is far from over. Moral panics come and go, but their impact lingers. They reflect deeper fears and are often tools for control. America's history is full of freakouts over things that rarely deserved it. Next time you see a headline about a new threat, pause and think, is it real or just another panic? Thanks for watching. Which panic surprised you most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe if you are new here.